Okay, so it's just loading now.
Good to go then?
Not yet. It's redirecting to YouTube.
Your audio is not coming through very well on mine, Jordan.
No, we're not ready to go. It's my connection. Madison's gonna sign on.
Hey everyone,
Hi, Madison.
how are you?
We're all hanging in.
It looks like we're live on YouTube, so I think I'm just going to mute myself and stop my video, so you guys are good to go.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Well, official welcome at meeting called to order at 9:08. The agenda came through this morning, or the minutes came through this morning. So the first order of business would be the review of the minutes. And since there's a short meeting, there's not a lot to the minutes. There's one question I have. Under the other, I did raise a question about the PCBs, and I'll raise it again during this meeting. But other than that, is there any questions with the minutes? A motion to approve? I get a hand or a voice?
I'll approve.
Mike?
Peter, yeah.
Motion, thanks, Mike. Seconder? Okay, Catherine, thank you. All in favor, I'm assuming. Hands up for any nays? Okay. Waste management EA update. That would be Rick, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Peter, that is me. So what I wanted to do today was just give a brief and relatively quick update on what the status of the waste management EA is, where it's at. So for those that may be new to the subject, basically the city has been involved in completing a waste management environmental assessment for quite a few years. The intent of that EA is to address the diminishing capacity at the existing landfill site. So in theory, we have less than 5 years of capacity remaining at the existing site. So there will be a need to address where we can dispose of waste in the future once that site reaches capacity. So we did complete a detailed environmental assessment to look at different alternatives for managing the future waste stream. Ultimately, that EA concluded that the preferred approach to managing the future waste stream was through increased diversion together with landfilling of the residual waste. And the preferred design option to dispose of the residual waste is through an expansion of the existing waste disposal site on Fifth Line. So we did recently meet with the ministry to talk about where we're at in the process and some of the key changes that have been completed to the environmental assessment document since we submitted the draft. The draft was submitted in 2017. Since that time, like I say, we've made numerous changes to the document itself to address comments that were received from the ministry, as well as the city has been working at enhancing the buffer land surrounding the site. And we are pleased to report that we are finally in a position to formally submit the final document in January of 2024. So at that time, notices will be published in local newspapers highlighting where the document will be available for review, and it will also provide instructions on how individuals can submit comments and questions. The notices will also be distributed to all property owners in the vicinity of the landfill site, as well as any individuals and agencies that expressed interest in the project over the course of time. Once those notices are published, it will trigger a mandatory 7-week review period. And the final document will be available both in digital and hard copy formats. Those who may be interested will always be able to access the document on the city's website. There is a specific project web page on the city's website, which will house a digital version of the final environmental assessment document. And hard copies will be available at the Civic Center and the local library, as well as other ministry offices. During that 7-week review period, comments will be collected by the ministry and disseminated to the project team as necessary to address them. So like I say, the ministry will be the repository for comments and questions, but ultimately they will pass those along to the city and ourselves to address as appropriate. And currently, based on the feedback we received from the ministry during our meeting, we're anticipating that a decision from the ministry on the environmental assessment will likely take in the range of about 1 year to complete. So I guess the long and the short is we're very pleased that we're finally at the stage that the final document will be submitted to the ministry, and we look forward to working through the next steps and hopefully achieving an approval for the EA over the course of 2024. And with that, Peter, I'll turn it back to you, and if there's any questions or comments.
Okay, any questions from Rick's message here? I have one myself, Rick.
Sure.
That can shovels go into the ground before we get final approval, or?
No, we will need final approval before we can. We can initiate the process of potentially designing the first new cell in the landfill expansion, but ultimately we will need an ECA, which is the sort of the technical approval for that first cell to be approved as it's designed. So there will be an ECA amendment required to accommodate the first cell in the expanded landfill, and that would not be forthcoming from the ministry until we have EA approval.
So at what point will we be putting out tenders?
In a best case scenario, I expect we could potentially have shovels in the ground in 2025.
Okay. Any other questions? Thanks, Rick.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the next one then is the Blue Box collection. I'm guessing that's Mike.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I don't really have anything to update on the Blue Box other than that the transition went well. I think Spencer spoke on that the last time. We transitioned at the end of September, so GFL has been contracted by the administrator, which is Circular Materials, and things have been going pretty well. Any requests for recycling from residents that come to us, we forward them to GFL, and so everyone knows any requests for recycling should go through GFL now.
Okay, now Clean North had a meeting last night, and this came up for discussion. Trying to answer questions from the public, and they've called the city, and they've called usually gets referred back to GFL itself. And some members of the public are getting conflicting evidence or information as to what is recyclable and what isn't recyclable. Because one person will say that this plastic is, and the next one will say, no, this one isn't. And so they get a little confused. And the second part that they question, they want to know how much of the recyclable materials actually get recycled, because there's rumors about things being dumped in the either our landfill or in the one down in Dafter, and I don't know whether that's just rumor or whether there's some substance to it. Is there any monitoring as to where the materials go when they leave the recycling center there, or is it just up to GFL itself to make that report?
My understanding, Peter, is that Circular Materials is the administrator for all of Ontario. So they contracted GFL. So any recycled materials or requests for information on where recycled materials go should be through Circular Materials. They are the administrators in Ontario. The province of Ontario was set up with catchment areas. And I believe Sault Ste. Marie is part of a catchment area called C33, which is all of Algoma. And because of this, Circular Materials contracted GFL. So the city of Sault Ste. Marie doesn't have any responsibility in recycling any longer. It is the responsibility of the producers. So this is where it really should lie.
Okay, so that became official a year ago, was it?
No, we transitioned. We were one of the earlier municipalities in Ontario that transitioned. Our last day was September 30th. So the contract with GFL started through Circular Materials at the beginning of October. So, and we've been preparing for this for quite some time. The city of Sault Ste. Marie owned close to probably 30,000 recycle carts.
Yep.
And these were purchased by GFL in order to continue doing recycling through, like I said, Circular Materials. And as far as the type of materials that are being recycled, it's exactly the same as it was in the past. Number two, plastics, cardboard, paper, and metal cans, and glass as well.
Okay, so is there a link on the city website that would answer some of these questions?
I believe we have links answering these questions about the transition and everything. And certainly people can go on the internet and look up Circular Materials. Like I said, they are the administrators of recycling in Ontario.
Okay, we'll try and update the Clean North website with all that information. Say we're sort of the filtering for all these environmental calls, and try to direct them to the right person. Okay, thanks, Mike.
No problem. I think I'm up next again, right?
Yeah, I just lost my screen. I think you are up next. I'm trying to figure where my screen went.
Okay, the hazardous waste depot is the next item on the agenda. And we closed the hazardous waste depot recently, October 21st. And we will open again probably after the weekend of Easter weekend in April, I believe. We're getting the schedule together for next year right now, so.
Okay, now since the question I had earlier about the PCB and the ballast resistors, is there any feedback from you or from the ministry? Because the media picked up our online meeting and they wrote an article about it, and the question never was really answered as to what to do with the ballast resistors. That the only information that the public had been given was to put it into the landfill. Is there any change to that or update?
I think everyone knows that PCBs are a carcinogen, you know, the old PCBs, and they are not allowed into our landfill, and we certainly don't tell people to throw PCBs into their garbage to be placed in the landfill. We have an environmental compliance that we have to follow, and regulations that all employees at the city of Sault Ste. Marie have to follow. According to our ECA, for the hazardous waste, we're not allowed to collect PCBs, and generally we have collected them if people you know, maybe have them in a box with their paints, and have changed them from their residence. And as far as businesses that are doing retrofits around town, they should be following the proper process and disposing of these properly. I think there is some information that people can access online at www.canada.ca about PCBs and how to dispose of them properly. I haven't got any information from the MOE, but generally we don't want accept PCB ballasts at the hazardous waste, and really hopefully a lot of these PCB ballasts are now out of most buildings. Like myself, the first lighting retrofit we did at the city when I was the equipment and building manager at Public Works was over a dozen years ago. So hopefully a lot of buildings around town have been retrofitted. I mean, when I did the last, involved with the last retrofit, we went to like T5 fluorescents, and now really we've retrofitted again to LEDs. So hopefully a lot of these old PCBs are now out of the workplaces, and you know, we won't see many of them any longer.
Okay, but it still leaves the public, the individual, when he calls, as to what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
What answer should we or Clean North give to them?
Well, like I said, there is if you go on Canada.ca, there's information where you can access it, and there is a line that you can call to find out what to do with them. But like I said, and really it's similar to recycling, where the producers should be responsible for what to do with them after. You know, the city of Sault Ste. Marie has been a good environmental steward, especially with even hazardous, the household hazardous waste. In being a collector in Sault Ste. Marie, I believe right now we are the only collector of household hazardous waste in Sault Ste. Marie. And we continue to do that. I understand this is a tough problem. I'm not sure if the MOE has any input that they could provide on that, but and like I said, hopefully a lot of these PCB ballasts are now have been retrofitted, and so my suggestion is to check the website and check the internet on what to do with that.
Okay, because I still have 10 at my house. And
Yeah.
at some point I'll be getting rid of them, I guess, if they die. That still doesn't help me as to what I can tell the public other than to
Mhm.
go looking on the internet. Okay.
That's the information. Oh, sorry, Peter, that's the information I have for you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I got my screen back. Odor control.
So we haven't had any odor issues in the last few months. I think we have one call for the year still, so we're doing fairly good this year. I think, Peter, you made note last meeting that you hadn't really noticed any issues lately, so we appreciate the positive feedback. And of course, we are proceeding with the design of the biosolids facility, and the intent of that, one of the intents is to also assist with odor mitigation. So we're looking forward to the construction of that facility as well. And Rick's team is helping us with that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions there? Any other items for discussion or any other questions? We're good. The committee itself still has another year to go, and it's
Good question. I'll have to check, but I believe so. Yeah, because we've got some fairly new committee members. So yeah, it's a 2-year term.
okay. Thank you, everybody, and best of the season. And we'll probably meet Tuesday, April, or May, the next meeting.
Yeah, likely if there's any major updates to provide, we'll schedule something in advance. But the first thing that I've got on my agenda, obviously, is the annual reports. If there's anything in advance of that, we'll schedule a meeting.
Okay. Thank you for everyone for attending, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
I guess it should be a formal motion to adjourn.
Right.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.